This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman. Hello, welcome back to coffee number 5. And we have a very interesting day today. We are in California right now and it's sunny. It's actually really warm today. And we're getting in this new season and everything is changing. But lately, I also feeling that everything changes so fast in this marketing world that we live. Everything changes. And it's like we don't even have seasons anymore. Everything and all the technology evolves so fast that I found out that one of the best ways to learn is just to mingle and to meet very interesting people. Podcast is a great way, but also going to in real life event, which I think we missed for a long time. But there are a lot of amazing people out there that they make these things possible. And today we're going to be talking about possible because we have Christian Muche. Did I say it right? Or Muche? How do you pronounce it, Christian? Welcome.
Originally, it would be, it would sound like Muche, but I'm aware of this, that in English, it's a bit difficult to pronounce this. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much. Today is in New Zealand. So how's the weather there?
So we are exactly on the opposite side of the world, which means we are heading into winter right now. So it's mid-fall. And looking out this morning, my time, and I'm living in your future, by the way, right? It's already Thursday,
you're in my
time.
tomorrow.
Exactly. I'm looking out and I see already some snow covering the top of the mountains on the other side of the bay. So it's definitely
beautiful.
winter is around the corner.
Well, as you can see, the world changes all the time, depends where we are. But tell me a little bit about possible. What's possible?
Yeah. So possible, I would say, is a great event launched 2 years ago in 23, based in Miami at the wonderful Fontainebleau Resort. And it's happening every April as a big event, bringing thousands of people from the marketing world, from the technology world, but also from the culture world together. And we decided to launch this and to be in Miami because of this beautiful environment, to be able to do possible indoor and outdoor. So you're not stuck in a windowless convention center like many other events around the world. So you really enjoy the sun, the beautiful weather out there, indoor, outdoor. And it's a combination of a big exposition and conference with up to 8, 9 different stages, etc. So we are serving the marketing world. Everybody who belongs to marketing, whether it's the brands and the marketeers, the creator economy, the agencies, the consultancies, the independent advisors, and of course the tech companies, they're all coming together. It's like the Davos of the marketing world, right? We bring the decision makers together.
And it's not dangerous that everyone is competing for the same business as they are?
It makes it very interesting, of course. And this is exactly, the reality. I mean, instead of doing your meetings one after each other, especially as a brand, as a marketeer, and talk to potential partners who might be able to help you in your daily business to stay relevant as a brand in this, as you said, ever evolving and changing consumer world out there. It makes your life maybe a bit easier, right? To do a lot of meetings at the same time within 3 days.
I'm a big believer of collaboration and getting to know your partners.
Yeah.
I just was at another big conference and it was great that I can connect with my partners in crime, because as a marketing agency, I'm not alone. I cannot do the job. And it's great to get to see the faces and who you're working with. I'm not going to give the names of platforms, but we partner with several of them. And it's great to say, and I have to tell you, I stopped working with several other platforms because I didn't feel like they have that relationship. And in this world, it's all about relationships. The same even with marketing companies. I feel like we need to collaborate. But with that said, I've seen also a lot of competition in between marketing companies. And how do you address that and this not becoming a competitive space and more collaboration space?
Yeah. I think you're right. First of all, I see it in a very positive way. Competition pushes ourselves, in each other to do even better. And we want to provide opportunities and the possibility of choice, for our clients and customers. So to be there, and you can decide whether you meet with A or B or C. I think that provides a lot of benefits, and then you're able to compare. On the other hand, a lot of these issues we are facing currently in the marketing world are only able to be solved, in partnerships, right? Across competition, and beyond being competitive. So that's the reason why I also a strong believer as yourself in real-time event. Also coming out of COVID, when I started with the concept and the vision of possible, we were still in COVID mode. And I believe that, yes, the world is completely changing as we see it right now. That's our first meeting, Lara. I'm more than happy to be able to connect with you. It's not in real, it's via the podcast here, which is great. But it would be even more fantastic, if you can make it over to Miami in 2.5 weeks time, and then we could spend, face to face and having a real coffee together. That would change. Great. That would change the rate. We don't need to do this, of course. In today's world, wouldn't need to do this week by week, but at least once, building such a new relationship, I think that's pretty important. And this is why I'm a strong believer that real-time events have a strong and very positive future, despite all the technology we're using all day long. Yes, we are all more selective. We don't need to go to in-person meetings every week, like in earlier days, going into the office 5 days a week. That definitely changed. And there are a lot of benefits. We all know that. But it still makes a difference to sit in the same room, face to face, and having a real coffee with each other. If it's just once, therefore, I think that possible will be the center point and the Davos of the marketing world also in the future to bring people together.
Let me ask you a question, because it's so, you have very interesting speakers. You need, and of course, as any event, you start planning these events a lot earlier, before in time. Yeah. And so how do you gauge what is going to be right at the point? How do you decide this is what's coming up, this is the trend, this is what's going to happening right now as we speak? In the world, we are dealing with a lot of issues that a lot of our customers and the platform customers are dealing with are the tariffs. So this is obviously is going to be affecting. So how do you make your programming current?
It sounds like an easy question. The answer is, you have to act in various ways. First and foremost, I spent now my whole life in as long as I'm in this business, traveling around and sitting down with people and listening to them. Doesn't matter whether it's an independent advisor, whether it's in economics, whether it's one of my partners and clients. You need to learn about their real issues, and they're only shared with you in a one-to-one, not in a bigger group, to become aware of. Then, of course, you have to make the right decisions in terms of, together with your team, to be able to perfectly curate this big pot of information you receive over the year. We are the collectors and we are the distributors of that content. So in other words, we have to be very creative and not just being copycats. It's not just that you provide a stage and bring speakers on it. You really have to sit down with them before they're going onto stage and discuss what is the best way to talk to each other. What is the best way? What is the best combination of speakers? Is it a single speech? Is it a kind of panel discussion? Is it a one-to-one? Is it an interview? Is it an intimate conversation with Chatham House rules, where really everybody can speak, about real issues? That's what we do here. And that's, I think, one of our secrets, that we do it obviously right, to offer different formats of speaking engagements and connecting people with each other. And there might be one-to-one meetings, that might be on a big stage. It depends on the topic. It depends on the urgency. It depends on the sensibility of this topic. You cannot say one solution fits all. This is in today's world no longer the case. The diversity is also happening in terms of having more diverse expectations from your audience and your attendees and your partners than ever before. Ask 10 partners and you get 15 to 20 different expectations. Absolutely. Right? It feels like this. And this is our job. And only if you dig into details, if you're passionate about what you do, if you don't see it just as a business, you want to create a relationship with your partners and your audience and who you're talking to. And then you get a kind of real sense what the real issue is for everybody, for every single one. And only doing this, you will be able to make a difference and face the issues and bring it up and be able to have a more or less honest conversation about that.
We talked before, you mentioned that there were 3 or 4 groups that can benefit from going to this conference. And one of them were marketers, platforms. Do consumer benefits or entrepreneurs could benefit from going? And
Absolutely. We have a message, we call it Innovation Village, with startups, means with the hidden stars, maybe somebody haven't heard about this yet. So yes, we have entrepreneurs, experienced entrepreneurs like the Mark Cubans and the Alex Ohanians and Martha Stewarts and tech entrepreneurs who are sharing their experiences. We offer mentorships for younger audiences, who are willing to step into this world, into the business world. And we support startups, young entrepreneurs who just started their business maybe 1, 2, 3 years ago, and want to be in the same room with the big elephants, with the big players.
because going to these events is definitely an investment for a company. And a lot of young companies, mostly, I've seen this a lot. And you need to know when you're ready to go to these events.
Mm.
You need to be able to not only absorb what you're learning there, but you are in a place that you can implement too. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs going to conferences early on, and I say it wasn't worth it for me. And I cannot blame the conference many times. Sometimes the conference is not great, but
Yeah.
but many times is that you as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, you don't have the knowledge to be able to observe the content at the level that is expected in the conference. So would you say that possible it's a good fit for someone who have zero experience and they are starting to think about launching a business, or is someone who already is in business and have certain
Yeah.
knowledge?
Yeah. I would say, I really believe it would be a good choice to go. Of course, it depends on your individual situation, whether you join it as an attendee and just want to get a first impression and want to become part of these conversations, or if you come and show up as a company, with your brand, and be able to provide your and present your solutions and your product and your vision and what you have in mind. So, are you somebody who is just touching base with others and want to be educated and learn and wants to create connections? Or are you already able to present something to this audience, right? And offer your solutions to the audience? That's the first major question you should ask yourself. We provide both options here. And then whether you have a big budget or not, in terms of tickets, in terms of innovation opportunities, we offer the whole range of budgets. You can come in with a couple of $100 for our younger audience. If you're a marketeer, we provide free tickets if you commit to a handful of meetings based on our meeting program. And of course, if you're a company who wants to do some activation, it could be a startup budget and it could be a big budget. Depends on your needs and how ready you feel to be bold and to go out in a very bold way and present yourself and your brand to the audience. This is what I mean. In today's world, the expectations are far more diverse and requirements. And I believe possible, because we launched it just 2 years ago, we could consider this changing world. We are not just copy pasting an existing conference. And I strongly also believe that other events who are doing just the same like pre-COVID and not considering these changes are in trouble, in the future, because that's not what we are all looking for anymore. We are far more selective, not just the C-suite, but we all are far more selective. Where do we invest our time and, of course, our money? But more important than money is where we're investing our time. And I would say we all go to less events around the year. We try to travel a bit less, for many different reasons. So you have to be one of these key players, unique players in the room, to attract, a relevant audience. And I believe that coming out of this COVID experience and all the changes, in our today's world, which are happening anyway, that this was the right time to do it. I've heard many people telling me we are bored about, and tired about the existing event structure. We always see the same kind of content, the same faces. We need some fresh fresh connections.
Let me ask you a question, Christian, because you are New Zealand, but you are having this event in Miami. How
Yeah.
important do you think that is the geolocation by the time you create an event? And like, do you think that it's more US focused, or doing it in the US or in Miami means that more people can join? Or why was the decision of doing it in the US? And are you planning to have because I've seen a lot of other events that they
Mm,
are doing,
mm,
one in Europe, one in the
yeah.
US, one in Asia. So why you think you started with the US, and do you have any plans to
Yeah.
expand?
Maybe one step back before I come back to Possible and why I did it in the US. 18 years ago, I've launched another big event at this time, which became the biggest platform and trade show in the marketing world, which was called DMEXCO in Europe, in Germany. I brought in 60,000 people over 2 days from all over the world with more than 1,200 exhibitors. It was massive. That was the currency at this stage, quantity. In today's time, only quality counts. Because, as I said before, we are far more selective. We're looking for quality in terms of connections, content, and everything. Talking to my network in the US a couple of years ago, they all told me, we don't have such an event. We need something fresh and new in the US, which is the biggest market, by the way, right? It's the biggest
Hmm.
marketing, advertising, media market in the world. And I felt that, finding the right partners to launch such an idea, the US market is the right one. Because first, it didn't exist. We're filling a gap here. Second, to get the right support, US is very provides a lot of positive and friendly environments for entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And Miami is a great spot to do this. So targeting the biggest market in the world was one of the key reasons, and there was a need. Thinking about the future, I would like to make Possible even more international, to bring in more international audience to Possible in Miami.
Hmm.
But yes, I'm also thinking about internationalization. It could mean, we haven't decided yet, it could mean to maybe go into other regions of the world. But again, I'm not just copying something which others did before. And I've seen many events doing mistakes going to other regions, because other regions means different cultures, different
Yeah.
expectations again. So
And let,
you have to
let me
understand
tell you
first, before you do you have to understand first where you want to go and what the requirements are. And there might be different, for
that
sure.
you're so right about that. When I started this podcast, I said I can do this in Spanish too, more
Yeah.
for other countries
Yeah.
in Latin
Yeah.
America. And it was a terrible failure. I could not
Yeah.
do it because I realized that I only work in the US market and in Europe. I don't
Yeah.
work in Latin America. So it
Mm.
doesn't matter that I speak the language. I realized that marketing was used so differently that I wasn't able to give the information needed for those markets.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just a culture thing, how to communicate with your local audience. It's also that you always have local players who are not acting on a global scale. So you
Hmm.
have to get familiar with what are the local players in Europe or in Asia or in South America, etc. And then it comes down to there are other events. There might be another event competition there, all these things. But then talking to people, you need to understand what they're looking for. Quite often, if you come from the US, to be honest, you go out into the world and tell them, how to do business. I've seen it several times, and this is not the way the world likes it. You have to adapt with the local needs and with the local people and players. So again, I'm for me, it's a time to look out, to connect with those partners, potential partners and audiences, and to understand them before making a decision. It could be
So you
tomorrow. It could be in another year. I don't know yet.
So basically, what you're saying is that not necessarily people from other territories will benefit from coming to an EOS event in this case.
Well, no, there are two different ways. First, I believe that um, it's bringing those people from other parts of the world to Miami,
Hmm.
makes absolutely sense. And that's one of my goals, especially those who are acting on a global scale, who wants to be, inspired by maybe some of the leading events from another region, and then go back to their country and to their local business, and might be able to adapt some of these ideas. That's one idea. But you also ask about maybe launching Possible in other parts of the world, to
Hmm.
bring Possible as an event to other parts of, and that was where I'm referring to. You need to understand first, and I'm sure that there must be some adjustments and not just doing it in exactly the same way
I see.
in other parts. So there are two different, there are two different components here. Bringing more international people means more audiences to Miami. That's the obvious step, and we are increasing our international share this year already. So we will be around 10 to 12%. Could be higher in the future,
So
but that doesn't exclude to maybe potentially move into other parts of the world where it's possible.
so you think the platforms are going to start to expand more, and you think they're going to get the way we work maybe in the US or maybe from another countries, they're going to start being more global, and we're all going to start using similar things or the same technologies that is going to get more globalized and that's as it is right now.
I mean, obviously, let's talk about the obvious thing, AI. It's used
Mhm.
around the world,
Yes.
no doubt. I think the intensity and the speed how to be used is different around the world. Depends on a lot of other criteria and components. Um, at the same time, I see that some regions are more connected to others. For example, Miami is very strong connected to the Latin market, as we all
Mhm.
know. So there is a nature fit, for the Latin market already. Um, but going to the Middle East or Asia might be a complete different story. This is what I'm talking about. It's not one solution fits all. You have to find individual ways to better understand the needs and then adjust what you're doing. In some cases, it means more adjustments. In some others, it means less.
Very cool. So let's talk about AI for a minute. How relevant do you think that is still talking about AI, or is something that we already all talked out?
I mean, it's needless to say that AI is on top of many conversations, and I think we are now in a time where especially brands and marketers and everybody else needs to understand based on case studies. We don't need another speech on stage or another conversation that it will change our world. We all know this already and we see it already. So
Hmm.
now it comes down to who is able to share experiences, case studies, data, knowledge already, based on activities using AI in different ways. I believe that AI this year, in 2 weeks, at possible, will have a strong focus on AI. I call it AI with a human touch. So brands that understand, how to blend automation with empathy, they will win. And this is a strong component in our conversations with our clients. And I see this happening on stage and at possible this year. Of course, we are using AI across our team. We make AI visible and possible in many ways, serving our audience on site in the run up to the show, but also if you're on site, you see a lot of our whole brand design is based on AI. We have different helping tools being integrated, in our app, but also on site with terminals, etc., based on AI. We are analyzing our audience based on AI, etc. So this is how we try to set up case studies for ourselves, but also share this with our audience. It's all about case studies now. We don't need to
Absolutely.
listen to another speech. Yeah,
And
sorry.
I agree with that. It's not about validation anymore. It's about
No.
confirmation of
Yeah.
that what you do is working. It's about getting data. And before we go, I have something that I'm very curious about your opinion, because there is a trend that it's been going on for a long time, but I see it shifting, which
Yeah.
is the influencers market. How do you think that right now a lot of people are living from being an influencer? And how do you think that this will evolve?
I really believe that influencer marketing, let's call it creator economy, is
Mhm.
now really linked to the C-suite, and they're colliding. The line between executive thought leadership and content creation is blurring. And uh, also, one of our initiatives is to integrate the creator economy throughout the whole event. We have an ambassador program with selected creators, producing great content on their own about possible being on site. I believe that creators don't just need to be on the main stage and be part of the conversation. They really need to drive these conversations. Creators are speakers at possible. Creators are collaborators. Creators are partners, are storytellers. Look into marketing campaigns. Quite often, creators are part of the executional part, but not of the conceptual part. I think that needs to be changed. It's changing already, and we are supporting this. While presenting the creator economy throughout the whole activation, not just bringing them on stage. That's the most obvious thing. And seeing a famous creator or influencers on stage doing a speech. It's really that they need to get to the beginning of all the storytelling, and also for campaigns need to be part of the conceptual part of a story and a marketing campaign. That's how we support creators on site as well.
But do you differentiate creators from influencers? Because I do.
I would see it more. My definition is, what I'm observing is creators are more kind of umbrella on a higher level in terms of covering all kind of activities in the creator economy, which includes influencers. Yes, sometimes it's sharing your opinion. In some other cases, really creating new content. That might be different here. But I see creators more on an upper level, covering various activities in that economy than an influencers. But I'm more than happy to listen to your definition and also learn more about from you about how you look into this, because you're the experts in this area.
Yeah. Well, that gave us thinking to all of us, and see how we're going to go from here and how we're going to be evolving in this new world that technology is changing, that we have content creators. We need to collaborate with them, but also collaborating with AI.
Absolutely. I mean, again, this is just, we try to execute things and show and present showcases and not just talk about theoretical stuff. That's what we try to bring together.
Yes, and it's like predicting the future a little, right?
Yes, a little bit, for sure.
A little bit too. Well, Christian, thank you so much for being here today and for having a cup of coffee with me. And I hope that we can have one in real life very soon.
I'm looking forward to this. Thank you so much, Lara.
And to you guys, it was great to have you here one more time. And I will see you next week with more coffee number 5. Talk soon.
Find everything you need at laraschmoisman.com or in the episode notes right below. Don't forget to subscribe. It was so good to have you here today.
See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.